Oops.
BruCast is back, baby.
This BruCast episode is brought to you by the BruCast Store. Explore a store filled with awesome goodies from hoodies to t-shirts to mugs. We've got you covered. Stay in style with BruCast. Embrace the shock, set the trend. Visit now bru-cast.com/store. Link below. Alright, welcome back to another BruCast episode. If it's your first time watching the show, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please rank the show 5 stars. This will ensure that the podcast is recommended to even more people and allow me to keep doing what I love. BruCast is also on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we upload shorts with the highlights of the show, so follow now. BruCast on Instagram, X, and TikTok. Links on the description below. Our guest today is Roberto Capodieci. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, hello. Thank you for having me in your show, Bruno.
Well, thank you so much, Roberto, for being part of BruCast. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
So before anything, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Roberto Capodieci. I'm Italian because nobody's perfect, and I've been living around the world 12 years in the United States. Now it's 20 years that I'm in Southeast Asia. Specifically, at the moment, I'm in Bali, Indonesia, where I've spent the last 20, almost 20 years between Singapore and Bali. Yeah, I do this because, I grew up in Venice, Italy, all touristic destination, Florida in the United States, and now Bali, because if people take the effort to go somewhere for a holiday, why not living there? There must be something good about it. So, we have only one life. So, I know for those that are watching video of this podcast, I look like 25, but I'm 50 this year. So it's better to, not to lose time, to do the best of what you can in life. So here I am.
Oh man, living the dream. Before we started the show, I said, Bali. Oops, 1 second. Working from home from Bali, like... That's amazing. Being 25, still, it's great.
Yeah. They say everywhere in the world is just 24 hours away. So unless it's really a remote place in the middle of the jungle, you need a few days of walking. But pretty much with an airplane and a bus, you can reach everywhere very, very fast. So it's no excuses for everybody that is there listening or watching at home, sitting on their couch or doing the boring job and listening to a podcast rather than working, right? Take your savings, go to the airport, book a flight, and just change your life. Life can be beautiful. There is never too late to do so, right?
I agree. I totally agree. Especially today with Starlink, right? You can live and work anywhere. I was watching yesterday, like this young man, like he was like 17 or something. He just bought a van. And a Starlink, he connected Starlink with like the solar panels, and that's where he lives. And he travels the world, not the world, but the U.S. like this,
Yeah, 17, you wouldn't be able to drive outside the U.S. in most places. But yeah, yes. It's just a matter of, I only know that some people has a family situation that doesn't allow them to live, maybe a family member need the support, so they need to be there. And those things I understand. But I met, most when I was living in Italy, right, people 65, 70 years old that never left the town. Once they went to the next town for an hospital situation, and they were happy. So I'm not judging people that don't want to move, but the world is so big. There are so many cultures. There is so many things to see, understand. It gives you the capacity to see things with a very completely different perspective. When you see somebody, you know that there must be much more to them than just, what prejudices are, given to people based on what you listen to in the news or watching the movies. That is all fiction at the end of the day. So, living it, and a holiday somewhere doesn't really show you how life there is. Like you go 7 days, which is a beautiful thing to do, though. But another thing is to, set up life somewhere else. There is no, home. So I encourage people to do this. It's a good exercise to do in life.
It is. It is. It is. I'm living in Germany for about 7, 8 years now, and I'm still getting used to how the government works, how things work. It's like you said, when you visit a place, it's amazing, but it's just the superficial aspect, right? It's just when you live there that you actually see how things work. It's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, the true color of things. Sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse, but still it's interesting to understand things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Robert. So I was very interested on your topics of expertise, especially because I don't understand them very well. And for me, that's amazing because one of the reasons why I started BruCast is to, well, meet new interesting people, but also learn. And one of them is like blockchain. That's a term that I hear all the time. It's like it's hot. It's a hot topic, but I still don't understand it. Could you
Okay, and I
please?
can explain. It's
Yeah.
no problem. Actually, consider we have plenty of time. I can give you the deep, good, explanation, which is better than a concise one, because we are living in the information era, right? So we had the industrial era before, age era, as you want to call it. So now it's an information age, right? And information is a value, something that has become a commodity, right? So is something like what we are doing now is information as well, right? So in the phases of this information age, we went from the analog things that were before. So it can be a recording vinyl or in a magnetic tape, something like this, to the digital one, CD, DVD, or something like that. Then, thanks to the internet, we can start sharing this information with others. Then the business start creating. So there are companies that sell services through these means, right? And the limitation that there were in the digital world compared to the analog and physical world were the fact that what is digital can be copied in millions of. If you think the biggest war against piracy were not there when there were music tapes, because they knew that after copying a copy another copy, the quality was so degraded that people want to buy the original tape because the quality is good. As soon as CD came out, then the fight, or DVD for movies, in VHS tapes that were copied and copied, the quality will go down, right? Because the digital copy in 1 and 0s is identical to the original. So much that if I have an MP3 file and I make 10 copies, we don't know which one of the 11 files is the original because they are identical one to the other. So in the evolving of this, age of information, we did an amazing step. So the blockchain is born just to support, just to solve an issue for something that was the cryptocurrency, the electronic money, etc., etc. But on its own, has brought something that is starting and is going to bring a revolution in the information age, in the digital world, is the fact that you can create a singularity, uniqueness of digital asset. In fact, if you think simply, I cannot make a copy of my Bitcoin. I cannot copy and paste my Bitcoin 100 times, because if I could do that, Bitcoin will be worth zero, right? So there is the guarantee that once I give you the Bitcoin, which is a completely digital item, I don't have it anymore. And this is magic, right? This is very, very important, because I can put the title of ownership of my car as if it was a Bitcoin. So once I sell the car to you, this digital item is not you. I cannot copy and fake it, because it is mathematically guaranteed to be unique. That's why there was this big bubble of these NFT monkeys that were worth a lot of money, which is a crazy thing, I think, to start with. But because the fact that that monkey is unique, you can make a copy of it, but it's a copy clearly. I can show that the original one is mine, and that's the value that it has, right? The worth that it has. So these allow the guarantee, given together all the other technology that are there in blockchain, like cryptography, and peer-to-peer networks, etc., etc. The guarantee of the quality of the information. So I give always this example. I need to subscribe to the gym. The gym wants a certificate from my doctor that I'm healthy to go to the gym. So usually people can take a piece of paper, Photoshop, and fake one. Hardly can be verified. But if the government uses something like blockchain, where the digital identity of the doctor is registered in a record of doctors, so is really a doctor that can be proved cryptographically, okay? And he signed a digital document with his digital signature, is guaranteed that this document is the one that he signed, and he's a doctor authorized to sign it. So when I share it with Jim, they have the capacity to verify that everything is correct. There is no way to fake them, to create a temper document, to make fake signature. It is a chain of like a sort of supply chain of documentation that is cryptographically guaranteed, and is not yet fully applied this. But if you think the beauty of this, because we could always have done this, but you should have elected somebody with a server to guarantee for third party. Like when you do the digital signature in the document that they send you, you're using a service. This service has a server where they save the fact that you signed, right? But with blockchain is directly between the two parties without middlemen. So you remove the man in the middle. So that's why Bitcoin, I send it from me to another person. I don't need to use the bank's financial institution. It's a direct choice of doing something between two parties. So it brings the responsibility toward the person. It removes somebody that need to be trusted, which we saw lately that cannot so much be trusted. A lot of middle party, people losing their land because the registry office, there is a fake notary that makes sell the land to somebody else. There are a lot of people that convinced to own a piece of property, and they go check in the registry, it's not their zone anymore because somebody fake document and stole it. So this will be all guaranteed by cryptography and removed. It's true is also that if I am 3 in the morning, I'm drunk in a pub and I want to give my house to this blonde girl, probably there is no officer or something that stop me from doing so. It can be mediated. It's not an absolute or nothing, but is an instrument that remove corruption, remove concussion rather than favoritism and all these things, because guarantee that the correct process is followed, and that this is amazing. Meaning that is a tool that is much more powerful than cryptocurrencies. It is a tool that is going to be used in processes that where people want the guarantee, they don't want a middleman in the middle. So that's what blockchain is, and blockchain is one of the instruments. There are several other, not many, but there are a few others that do similar things, and that's fantastic. I think it is something that is gonna take slowly into the technology. The final user will not know it because it's behind the scene. It's something that happened behind the curtain of the mobile app rather than the website that people use. But it's something that is going to be very important to guarantee the quality of what happened in the information.
Wow. That's so interesting. That's amazing. So blockchain and decentralization are basically the same thing. They go hand to hand together.
Well, blockchain is an instrument to do decentralization. Decentralization is mostly based on peer-to-peer network, which is one of the elements of blockchain. Peer-to-peer networks are network of computers where there is no computer that is more important than the other. So there is no central point of failure. So there is no one server that I can go hit and the network goes down. So in a peer-to-peer network, you have many nodes, which are those computer servers that were part of the network. And if you even kill one of those, two more comes out in another place. So it's like a sort of animal living his own life. What makes the network working is the protocol, is the set of instructions that guarantee the quality of the data that travel through the network. So, but it can be used without blockchain. It can be used to make phone calls, video calls, data sharing, many other things, data storage, in a way that if you think a BitTorrent, which is an instrument that many use to download the file, is on a peer-to-peer network, is what made the regulator change the regulation. Before it was illegal to share, with BitTorrent, it became illegal to download because there is no way to stop a BitTorrent. It's just an animal on his own, like a peer-to-peer network that has no boss.
So Torrent was one of the first peer-to-peer networks to exist. So even before that, so every blockchain, so sorry. Let me.
Too many information in a couple of minutes. Sorry.
It's okay. So peer-to-peer network is it's like part of the blockchain ecosystem. You cannot separate them. So you need the peer-to-peer.
Yeah, blockchain is made by peer-to-peer network, cryptography, which is a science of mathematics. So there is no computer. You can do it by hand if you want, and data storage. So you need to save some information. And the protocol, which are the rules of the game, practically. So how things has to go through. So in the case of the example before, if I am underage when I go to the gym to subscribe, automatically I need the authorization of my parents. For example, this rule is written there, and I cannot cheat. So that's the rule. It is a guarantee. It's like a phone network where you can decide what phone call can go through based on some criteria. And like a fax machine, they only accept faxes. Maybe many listeners don't even know what a fax machine is, but only if the content, like if you receive an email, only email that contains good morning inside, the other email are bounced back because there is no good morning inside. In this way, if you think I cannot send you 10 Bitcoin if I only own one, because the rules will stop it from, me sending something I don't have. This is, maybe my signature is valid, the network is perfectly okay, but I'm doing an operation that the protocol doesn't authorize, so that's...
Okay. Before we talk about the protocol, I have a couple of questions about decentralization. So banks use it. Bitcoin use it, for example, like cryptocurrencies, NFTs. What else could you use it? Like
banks don't use it.
Don't
the
use
banks
it?
are all centralized. No.
Okay.
They are investing. There is an interesting aspect. Think about this. When BitTorrent came out, the music moving industry lobbied the government to arrest a few of the kids that were downloading files, right? Remember, there were this young 17-year-old kid with 3 lifetime sentences for piracy,
Really?
like insane things, yeah, because they wanted to scare people from preventing people from using this thing because they don't want to face this sort of legal, repercussion. And it's been silly because if they really thought about it, BitTorrent will be able to reach the smallest remote village in the most forgotten country in the world. They could have used the network, which was maintained by people, not even they need to pay for it, to sell their content. They should have just, made their content, activated with some payment or something like this. But they had a distribution system where their boxes of CD, DVD, VHS will never arrive in one piece, will melt under the heat or whatever, They could have surfed the wave, look nice to people, and, the only things they obtained, the people start hating them. They made the piracy even worse because, people start finding other systems. They didn't stop the phenomena. They just became something people don't like, Yeah. When cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, blockchain came out, banks, some country make it legally immediate, the first reaction, the human reaction was something that you don't know, something you're afraid of it. There is these strange beings moving toward you, you run away, you don't go there and shake hands because you're scared, So some countries and government reacted badly also with cryptocurrency, but most country a little bit more awake, let's say, more on with technology, they start saying, look, this is a very powerful technology that we can use for many use cases. Let's invest, and they start saying, look, Bitcoin is illegal, but the technology underneath is good, and they offer sandboxes, they offer grants for company just to explore the new technology, and has been 2014, 15 until now an amazing opportunity for R&D where research and development in new ideas and new things. There has been a lot of bubbles where people lost money. There is a lot of scams around it, unfortunately, because every new technology is always approach. The scams are always the same. They just serve the different new opportunities that there are. But the underlying technology is amazing, right? And government, in fact, have invested, and also banks. So as the music industry reacted badly and lobbied the government for, incriminating the users, financial institution with crypto and blockchain in most countries start saying, okay, let's try to ban the cryptocurrency aspect of it, but let's invest in the technology, so at least we save, and if you own a technology, control it. So they want to patent, they want to do things like that and bring, innovation in those fields. So that's why all the world of fintech started, it was already there, but surfed a bigger wave of opportunities. Fintech is financial technology, so technology in finance, opening a lot of doors. If you think all the carbon credits management around the world, all those impact things are managed with blockchain because they bridge the cross borders. If you think about it, that whatever is inside the country, inside the jurisdiction, can be managed centralized because there is one rule, one law, one government. But when you start doing, for example, trade between two countries where there is different languages, different laws, different way of operating, etc., the minimum common denominator is paper and pen. That's why as of today, 2024, a lot of trading documentation travels via courier in form of paper and things to sign. That's why you must have heard people saying, the container is already at the port, I cannot collect because the documents are not ready, right? This is because the documentation travels slower than the merchandise most of the time. Because between different countries, there are no one piece of software that works. If there is a phone network, you can make a phone call. There is a fax, you can send a fax, an email, you can send an email, but there is no one government functionality where you fill up the form because they are two different countries. And maybe, I don't know, shipment goes through another country, freight forwarder there, a shipping company with another flag. So the only way to bring everybody together is a peer-to-peer network where there is no one party that decide for all, because it would be impossible, and give inside this peer-to-peer network the instruction to facilitate the sharing and the approval of documentation between this party, which is, something that matches blockchain definition. So in this way, that is there, people can onboard it without asking permission to anybody, and they're guaranteed that when they use it, if some documents are filled in a certain way, the quality of data is guaranteed. So it is a tool that, when applied, is going to make things much better in many ways. So remove all the human mistakes, remove all the criminal people that do things outside the rules, So it's going to be powerful, I guess.
Oh, it already is, right? But I think like governments, they evolve so slow. I don't see they adopting that like new technologies that fast. I saw the other day that in Japan, I think it's a cultural thing as well, but in Japan, they still use floppy disks. In the government, because apparently like the culture is, if something works, don't change it, never. So
people is afraid to change. If I work in a large institution, why should I take the responsibility to compromise the system? So usually I'm gonna choose a vendor that is the most important, 3-letter large company names, or like this consulting that are huge. So of course you cannot blame me, I choose the best. And using technology that is proven to work, so the step ahead is very complex. But it's not always like this. There are a lot of government that actually, but in a much slower manner, that's guaranteed. It starts usually with law enforcement, I think, or services that need to tap into those systems in order to spy or to do an investigation or something like this. They need to adapt to technology in order to, because the rest of the world is not regulated. Criminal can use whatever technology they want. So the moment the criminal use a technology, and then law enforcement need to be able to work with the technology, and then from there it can spread in the rest of the, the department of government. So it's a long process, nonetheless, but it's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, you're totally right. You mentioned the police start using the new technology. I saw, I don't know which country, I don't know where, like they're already using drones to catch suspects. I don't know where, but probably South Korea, right? They're living the future. So when I was a kid, I used to remember Napster was like this huge thing. Was that the first peer-to-peer famous platform?
Well, they were not purely peer-to-peer. They were centralized in a way of controlling. So they had a network computer for distribution, but there was a central server. That's why they could be shut down. That's why people could get arrested about it, right? So Napster and the likes around, they were using a system for distribution, but there was central server and there was a precise person responsible for the server. So they were not really, I think... but peer-to-peer is a mechanics that comes from the military army from 1,000 years ago in the manner of distributing information on coordinating armies that are very large, that are in different... Because, yes, we have no other means to have like an operation to start at the same time. There were a method to bring information without being discovered by the enemy, to make sure that the coordinated action starts at the same time. The decentralization mechanics also happen in large country with a lot of provinces where each province is independent in certain aspect of choices, and then report to the central government only for certain other things. So the dynamic and structure of what it can then be in computer terms, a decentralized system or a peer-to-peer network, they existed even in nature. If you think, some insect colonies, how they behave, they control each other. So there are a lot of good examples that we can look at for the conceptual aspect of it. Then the computer aspect of it, which is very clearly set and ordinated, made of precise instruction and precise result, is something else. But I think BitTorrent has been the biggest large example of a peer-to-peer network. But there were federated networks. If you think about it, the email. When the email first started, each office, each house had a mail server. There was now there are 4 companies that control all the email of the planet, which is a very bad thing. This is centralized control of information, and is horrible. But if you look at the beginning, each office, many offices still do today, they have their own mail server in their own office, and the email that you send goes from this mail server through the mail server of the recipient, and so all the other mail servers have no idea about this email, right? Now between Gmail, Outlook, and another couple, you have all the word email going through just a few vendors, a few service providers. So we need to re-decentralize in a different manner the mechanics of communication to also guarantee more privacy, because emails... See, you talk about Japan using floppy disk.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that the email protocol is the most old protocol that is still used today, and is horrible in terms of security, in terms of privacy, in terms of... how many times you receive an email with somebody asking you money that is sent from your own email address. It says, I can control it. Because the protocol is so weak that it's so easy to spoof email, it's so easy to do so many, bad things. And this is because it's hard to drop it because everybody uses. To me, email is useless as today because I receive hundreds of emails every day, after cleaning the spam and things. So hundreds of potential email I should check. So most people send me a message in Telegram saying, "Hey, I sent you an email with this subject. Go check it," because it's hard to intercept the good one, even though I put the Andrew filter. Because it's a protocol that everybody uses, is hard to drop. It should make the recode, the reprogram much better, but who has the bravery, like in Japan with the floppy disk. And so probably, there are many things that need to be re-decentralized, like remove from the end of a few that control everything. And they need to be made a better version of. I think we need to be, so that's I think the take of why things don't progress. Not only government, so email, there is no Mr. Joseph Email that is the owner of email system. Email is an agreed protocol that hardly is going to upgrade with time.
Yeah, but gosh, I couldn't agree more with you. Like, I get so much spam every day, especially after I started the podcast, that I put the podcast email online. Like, I don't know, those scammers, they just have some kind of software that scans the internet. I don't understand,
Yes.
but is that the thing? Because I start getting, after I start putting my email out there on YouTube, the BruCast podcast email, it's just raining. Of course, they have the spam folder. It filters a lot, but it's 20 per day at least.
You're lucky then. Numbers are much worse, but yes, indeed. It's a matter. Is statistical. They try the scam on millions of people. One is gonna go. I had a friend when we were teenager. He would go inside the club, ask each single girl inside the club to go out with him, and he will always come out with the girl because statistically, one will say yes. When so as the same approach. The possibility to say, out of all those recipients, one is gonna fall for my scam. So much that if you think scammers make the email in a bad grammar, in a way that any normal person would recognize as a scam, not by accident, not because they cannot write correct English, but because they want to filter out all the people that will not fall for the scam. So if you get through that barrier, you're already a potential victim. So they make it clear there is a scam. So they just remove all the people they're not gullible, they're not potentially victim. There are a lot of technique. There are a lot of. It is a scary planet, and the victim are always the most vulnerable. So it is a very sad, let's say, kind of a crime because out of all the choices they go to affect people that don't deserve to.
I'm just mind blown right now. They write emails with bad grammar on purpose. I thought they were just actually uneducated, but no.
No. Those are organized crime. Those are people that know very, very well how to do things properly if they want. In fact, when they do phishing, the website that you go to that looks identically to the one of your bank, of your service provider, is done very, very well. So they know very well how to do things that, if they want to do well. But those things are done bad in purpose, just to filter out people that will not fall for the scam. So.
Damn, that's so interesting. There's a guy on YouTube that I love watching. I forgot what is his name, but he's very famous. He has millions of subscribers, and his whole deal, his whole content is about making Indian scammers lose their time and then temper. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it is how do you say, a category. There's called scam baiter. I interview many of them. Kit Boga is one of my favorite. It's called Kit Boga. Or now you should search scam baiter or
Scam baiter. Okay.
Scam baiter. All in one word.
Oh yeah.
Or search for Kit Boga, for example, is one of the. But this is a category, meaning that there are a lot of Kit Boga.
Oh, that's the one.
This guy here, this is, I interviewed him
A few
in.
weeks ago,
It
I
was
saw
my
it.
guest in a podcast. This
No
guy.
way! He's
Yeah, yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. The guy is so funny. We click and connected immediately. It's the way that he just talk. It make you happy and laugh instantly. It is. Then he pretend to be the old lady, so it's entertaining as well. Or they created is impossible to capture because he lured the scammer with the potentially a lot of money to be made. Like there is $200,000 in the bank account, $150,000. So this scammer really do whatever. He asked them to sing a song, pretending to be the victim. An old lady like this is ready to give the money, but before, I want to remember my grandson singing me that song, so the scammer starts singing. It is hilarious the way that it makes like fun of this scammer waste their time. But there are many people, and then this is the first step. The second step is. When the scammer thinks is going to go get the cash because they pretended to go to the bank, but the bank is stopping them. They say have a cash at home, so send a mule to pick up the cash. And then there is a group called Trilogy Media that do the in-person action of Trilogy Media, exactly. And they're also them. I interviewed. If you think the first link in the top is their channel, but they are very interesting because they go to action. They really run after the mule. They work with the law enforcement sometimes to bring people to justice, and they are very fun. So these scams are bad because there is not. A way to legally frame those scammers because until the crime is not committed, you cannot do anything. When the crime is committed, it's too late. These people is on the other side of the planet where you can buy police silence and other things. So it is difficult. So really, the best way that they have is to waste these people time, get on their nerves. Or there is another guy, is called Pleasant Green Color, which convert them in become good kids. He had them getting an actual regular job, and exactly this guy, and he convert them take them out of the scam center, the call center, and help them expose the criminals and help the victims. So it is another interesting aspect.
I got scammers to fight each other. Oh my god, I need to watch this.
Oh yeah. It's entertaining. So yes, it is a planet of people, but obviously for one person fighting scammer, there are like thousands of scammers out there and victims. Also because those victims are, managed with fear, so they are afraid also when you go to help them. They don't trust anybody anymore,
All right, so Pleasant Green Color, he converts scammers into good guys. How is this even possible?
No, I mean, not the head, not the top part of the organization, but the people working in those call center. You start talking, says, how can you go to sleep thinking that, you're all the saving of this old person and some people have the consciousness.
Do you think so?
Not everybody. Yes. Maybe it is people who are searching a job without knowing what they're going to do, because they're lured into doing this. They're taking the job as work in a call center. Most of those call centers, during the day, they do legitimate work. They do actual work for technical support. When those are shifted, they are empty because the country that they serve is night, so there is no, office hour. Then they start transforming those call center into scam call center. And it's all psychological hacking. They are no hackers. They do very simple things. They make this potential victim to install remote control software, but that's not a hack. And in fact, their own computer are not very well protected. So it's very easy for somebody with a little, knowledge to access their network, watch their CCTV camera, get the document inside. There is another guy that delete So access the computer of the scammer and delete all their files, and even as a head this is delete their files or something like that. And so there is many different interesting people that do this scam baiting work to fight scammers, and thanks to them, because nothing much else is done to prevent. If not a little bit of education, but you need to educate people close to the victims, not the victims themselves. Meaning that you can tell somebody if your friends is behaving a certain way, or they're talking about, the romance scam is another very, very bad thing.
Sorry, the what?
Romance scam.
Romance scam. How this works?
Oh my God. This is one of the most horrible things, because you don't only break financially somebody, but you break them emotionally as well.
Oh, I think it's on TikTok. Sorry, they use Tinder, right?
They use different application. Can be Tinder, can be even through Telegram. They go in group. They do targeted. I have another couple of interesting scam too. One is very important to expose actually, because it's very much unknown. But let's go through the romance scam first. I tell you the whole dynamic, the whole procedure of this scam, how it goes, because it's horrible. So first, they decide, they find the target. They know there is somebody there are money to take out of, okay? So not rich people, like humble people, but with the savings, something like that. Mostly they are guys, but many women as well, okay? And they connect, for example, in Facebook, they say, I don't know why Facebook keeps suggesting me your profile, why? And usually is a very handsome guy for a woman, or very sexy woman for a guy. So much that you wonder why she's talking to me. I am ugly and I am a nerd in the basement of my mom's. Is my picture clearly show that I'm not so interesting? But yet they invest even 2 months in becoming your friend, show that they are free from any interest, for 2 reasons. First, because if somebody attack your account with minutes or hours or just a few days since the connection, is easily detected as a scam. But if it's after 2 months of full interaction, is hardly detected as a scam by the system. Second, because you attach them as a friend, they start connecting to all your family and friends. So they become friends not only with you, but with your family, with your friends and everything. So really penetrate your social network. And in the communication with you, they show they have a lavish lifestyle. So they drive very luxury cars, they have very expensive jewelry, they go to very expensive restaurants, etc., etc. And these are all video and photo taken from close account Instagram of those Instagram models, so they steal this identity. They have a lot of material that cannot be found in the internet, so you cannot search for the picture, you don't find it because it's a close account. And, they impersonate them with a different name, obviously. And after 2 months, they force you to ask how you make this money. So, I entertain some. So for example, they say, I need to buy a present for my friend. So which one you like between watch? They show Rolex of $100,000 each or something like that, So then you want to ask, why you give such an expensive present? But, they will force you to figure out that this friend is the one that made them rich. How they made them rich? Because she knows about some investment, but they don't understand much. But if you want, they put in touch with the financial advisor that helped to do the money. And it's always the same scammer that change the cell phone, because usually they bring the conversation in WhatsApp. So from the social media where they are, they go in WhatsApp, because not much you can do there. And once they are in WhatsApp, you start talking with several people, which is always managed by either it goes a different grade. So from people that do the first hookup, then they pass to a level up where they do the financial aspect. And they make you register into this website. There is a fake website for investment. So they get your document, your signature, your ID. So they have all your identity stolen there, and they start using it already, okay? Then they make you deposit money, and you see the number, which are obviously fake number. They are making a lot of money, so everything is good. At a certain point, you need a little bit extra money to reach the level, so $50,000 more to reach the level where you can cash out $500,000. Your friend says, I spoke with the financial advisor. He told me you need this money. You know what? I lend them to you. So you see that this sexy rich girl that you think is your girlfriend is actually transferring $50,000 in your investment account, which is a fake website managed by the scammer. And at this point, you have finally invested 200,000, but you have $500,000 in your balance. So you say, I want to withdraw the money. And they say, okay, no problem. But then they say, no, the government asking the taxes before you can withdraw. Taxes is $70,000. You think, well, I'm making 300,000, even if I pay 70,000, still good money. And people pay even this money for the taxes. Once they pay this, they disappear. They disappear, but the girl says, hey, the 50,000 I loaned to you, I want them back. Okay. So they start calling, and then comes this lawyer. There is always the scammer pretending to be a lawyer. And this lawyer starts saying, hey, you're going to be to prison, blah, blah, blah. They scare people, out of paying the money. If you ignore that, they start messaging, because in Facebook they're friends with all your family and friends. They start messaging them all, showing the chat where they lend you the money, say, tell X, the victim, to return my money. And sometimes they convince the family to return the money in behalf of the victim, so they scam other people. So this is really bad, because they steal your identity, they ruin your social network, they ruin your reputation. Is a huge damage, and you're brokenhearted, because at the end you thought that you found that this beautiful woman that was your girlfriend, while that's not the case.
Oh man, I sorry. Go ahead.
No. Tell me. They made some documentary. I didn't see this one, but it is common practice. So it is an interesting things to study and to pay attention, because
this one is on Netflix. It's called the TINDLER Swindler, and it's very similar to what you're describing. It was this guy, I forgot his name, but anyway, he would always post pictures like he's a millionaire, like he has a jet or he has a boat, and of course a lot of girls would be very interested on him. So he would go with the girl in a couple of dates. And at some point, he would pretend he had a video recorder of him where he got hurt once, years ago, and he would just send to the girl and say, "Oh, I just got in a fight. I'm going to the hospital," and the girl would get all worried, and he would say, "I don't know, someone stole my money. Please send me $50,000, something like that." And the girl, who he brought into his private jet, into his island, in very expensive hotels, feels obligated to give something to him, because they already started having a relationship. So he would take that money, of course was a scam, and he would use that money to
finance the next scam.
That scam, to travel even more, to go to even more expensive hotels and do the same thing with a different girl. Oh man.
These are in-person scam, which are all another planet of scam as well. So it is for sure another set of things. And this is people that have a certain ability, if you want, between quotes, on having a cold face and scam people. At the end of the day, most of the time they end up in prison, because they expose themselves. They travel internationally, but to a certain extent, until they get caught. But those that do work remote over the phone with a total fake identity, and making phone call through voice over IP network without being traced, those are much more difficult to be found. And for people working with cryptocurrency, for software developers working in the world of blockchain and crypto, there is a very interesting scam that came out, where practically somebody contacted people I've been contacted 3 times with this scam, in LinkedIn or in Telegram groups, where they target software developers that work with blockchain. And they say, hey, there is this work, they're ready to pay a lot of money, and they set up a call over Zoom or something to discuss the business. But first, they send you a piece of software for you to check, because that's the software you will need to work on. When you run the software, this software install malware in your computer and they remotely access your computer. And it's an easy target because this is already somebody working with crypto. So most of the time, people has, cryptos in their own computer, in their hard drive. So they don't just random search people for it, but they go to the place where the money are. And it's very subtle because you don't realize that your computer has been hacked, and these people seems totally legitimate, then the agreement doesn't go to good terms, but they are sure they are in there, and then they work to find your funds. So it is a very subtle and very well targeted scam.
Whew.
Plenty of people that want to make money without working. Well, they work, but they make a lot of money for the work they do.
Yeah. 1 second, Roberto. Let me just adjust something here. There you go. So, Roberto, I have a question. As we covered, there's a lot of ways to scam people, right? There's romance scam. There's the one that we covered with like the Indian scammers that just call you. They pretend they're from the IRS or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's so many different types of scam, email scams, right? So, is there like best practices to prevent those things?
But most of the time, those scammers rush you into taking action. It's always an emergency. It's always something you need to do immediately, so you don't have time to think about it. So. There is one now with AI that they make voice cloning, image cloning. There is also the one with the phone call from the actual person. So
with
the
AI.
doctor, so calling, I'm in the hospital, I need, and actually it's not. So double verify before acting. So when somebody is asking for money, there is always a suspicion, unless it's legitimate, because people should be the one giving on their own intention, not because somebody asked, right? And take a deep breath at a time, and try to be, to think. So if they say somebody is at the hospital, try to call this person. Maybe they're not, if whatever is the urgency, double check and verify. Always initiate the call. So if somebody called from the bank, hey, this is your bank institution, we need this. Okay, what is your office department? Okay, go in the internet, search the phone number, or you have it in your own document, call the bank and ask to speak with this person. Then you realize this person doesn't exist at the bank, So whenever things is initiated by a third party, take information, not the contact information, because that will be bogus as well, but and call back, there are, just prove people that are correct, even here, I'm being called, you get the new credit card, which we give you, I don't know, 0 interest for 10 years with a super high limit, whatever, Okay, you want it? Yes. Now we need to verify, so your card number, it is, they already know because they buy databases online with data, so when there are data breach, always they're communicated, so, and then they ask you the information that they need to use your credit card with the excuse to verify them, and then you catch them because they should never ask you those information. But nonetheless, it is cost, and people need to watch. Don't trust anybody, unless you can verify in person. Is and never rush into decision.
Never rush into decision. Don't give your information that easily like this. Okay. And double check with the people if they really are who they are. We've heard. Oh man, Roberto, I need to ask you that. So I live in Germany, right? I grew up in Brazil, but now I live in Germany. For me, like in comparison, for my standards, Germany is a very secure country. And so I fought for many, many years. But last year, something happened that completely changed my opinion about Germany. Maybe it's just the city that I'm in, or maybe it's just a new type of scam. I don't know. But I was at home the other day. It was like already 8 p.m., 8 p.m. in the evening. At night, 8 p.m. at night. And then I just heard like a knock on my door. I was like, who is this? Like, it must be the neighbor or the landlord. Something's happening. So I go to the door, I go enter the door, and I see is a guy from Telecom. It's like the phone provider, something. And I was like, that's weird. That's something weird here. That's done. But then I looked, double check. Like he had the professional clothing. He had like the little tag with his name, and was written Telecom with like a name. He has like the tablet, and he had like this tablet with the rubber around that those guys normally use. So I was like, okay, he's official. Everything's fine. And he starts saying, he came up with a story. Like he starts saying, no, because your landlord said that we are changing the whole provider from the building from Vodafone to Telecom, and now we need to check your modem. I was like, no, what? No, bro, no. What's going on? He was like, no. It's really quick. We already we're already changing like the cables in the whole building. We just need to look if your the adapter of your modem is compatible. It was like, I was like, can I take a picture and just show? It's like, no, it's going to be really quick. I just need to show, to take a look. I was like, okay, that sounds official. He talked to my landlord. I was tired. It was not my brightest moment. It was like, bro, okay, just take a look. And then he came into my flat. He looked at it. He didn't even look at it. He just looked like from far away. It was behind couch, behind the plant. It was like, yeah, okay, we can do it. Just sign here. I was like, what? I'm not signing anything. And then he was like, oh, by the way, that's a nice watch. And then he's like touching my stuff in my flat. I was like, bro, get out, fuck off. Don't touch my things. Like, get out. And as soon as he said get out, he was like, he noticed like I was getting aggressive. It was like, okay, you don't even need to sign anything. Just say that you agree. Agree right now. You're gonna save so much money because the landlord already approved. Was like, fuck off, get out of here. I'm not signing anything. And then he saw that I was serious, and then he left. As soon as he left, I was like, this was a scam for sure, 100% sure. The first thing that I do is like I call my landlord. My landlord was like, Bruno, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, bro, I need to change the logs. I don't know. I need to install some cameras. I need to do something. I was scared for sure. But,
yeah. In Italy, there was this law that you can verbally confirm the change of contract. Okay, so you just need to say yes, sì, in Italian, when they ask you want to change the provider from such and such. So they were calling people and asking, so is your name Roberto Capodieci? You say yes. And they will edit the audio and cut the yes and put it at the end of the question. And a lot of people found themselves with a new provider because they get a commission, which is not little money, for every change that they do. And they will provide the audio file with the, I'm talking about Capodieci. They cut those yes from there. And they says, do you want to change provider? They use the yes, you say after your name. So people start learning not to ever say, okay, yes, I agree on the phone, because they will use your audio for, the confirmation of the contract change. So this person wanted you to sign the request because probably in Germany they're a little bit wiser and they ask all these people to sign in person with the excuse of something else just to collect. And think they go in the house of some old people, an 80 years old person living alone or something like that. And there you go. So not only the watch would be gone, but people would change contract.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I was wondering afterwards, that he gave up on the signature. He just wanted me to say
Probably was recording.
yes. Yeah, but thanks God I didn't say anything else. I just told him to fuck off. But I can see how many people fall for it, especially old people, right? They are like,
Correct.
It's crazy because when you get older, from what I see, right, you either get really angry at the world and hates everyone, or you become very generous,
super compliant.
Yeah,
it is. I have a little bit of experience. I'm getting the direction, but it's true, So, but you also get wiser in a certain way. So, That's for the last stage, more the 80 up is more compliance. Don't want trouble, don't want to deal with problem. You're already tired enough, so say yes to what you want is easier to. And at the same time, you're much more sensitive. So when they say, your nephew had the accident, you need to send the money, you feel immediately you need to do something about it, and that's the moment where you lose your money. So, yeah, that's why another this is said, but blockchain would solve this problem too, because if the transaction were done in a certain way, you will know exactly who you're sending the money to, what you're doing. You know that. Now there is this fight against cash, so all the bank transactions are traced. You can now exchange cash for more than a certain amount of money, etc., etc. In a certain way, it could be useful for this sort of things, because it would be much more difficult to steal a large quantity of money from somebody if people don't handle anymore so much cash. But there are a lot of other negative aspects that but many scammers use cryptocurrency, for example, so they instruct all people how to go to the Bitcoin ATM to put cash and deposit Bitcoin in their account rather than so it is those scams always been there, so people they're selling what they call snake oil, the magic potion to do things in the medieval times, like they're not that's exactly it's the same people.
Yeah, it's snake oil, right? They used to sell
Right,
that.
that's correct.
So, regarding the downsides of blockchain, so one of them is that scammers can use it as well, right? Would you say are there any other downsides to blockchain?
But it's a point of view. So if somebody in an institution is corrupted, a system like that will limit the amount of damage it can do and the amount of money can, extort or steal. So that's why in many point of power is not very well seen, as an instrument, because it will stop them from doing favors or from pocketing some money, with the sticky hands when money go by and so on and so forth. Think, for example, conflict of interest. In a system that track all your interaction and relationship, and when suddenly this company that get the money for the job comes out to belong to the sister of the person doing that thing, like that will be coming out instantly. It would not be able to function even, you know what I mean? Because the rules will stop it from happening. But at the same time, there is all the privacy aspect, that people want to protect, because we are still individuals. So if my brother is a criminal, why should I be affected by that? Why this should be public knowledge? So there are many aspects of it. For sure, blockchain, people say is privacy. No, blockchain actually is a public tracing. You can see anybody who transfer money from who to who, from which account to which account, at least. Compared to the bank that you don't know what I do with my bank account. So if you know my bank account number, you need to have a friend inside the bank to tell you all the transaction I did, or you are the government. If you know my Bitcoin address, you can see all the transaction I did, because it's a public record, the blockchain, everybody can see a transaction. So under aspect of privacy, unless there are some particular blockchain that respect privacy, they have an algorithm, it's called zero knowledge proof. It is
Zero knowledge proof?
Yeah, zero knowledge proof is a way to prove something without showing it. Let's say I go to a club, they want to know I am at least 18 years of age. I can prove to them that I am at least 18 years of age without showing them my birth date, for example. So I keep my privacy of the data, but they have the mathematical guarantee that things are in a certain way. So
Interesting. Roberto, so I would like to ask you about Apple. So have you seen that Apple has been sued by the government recently because they are considered a monopoly? Something around those lines.
Okay.
So my question would be, have you seen that and what you made out of it?
I didn't see that. I'm no. I mean, I saw them sued many other time for many other things in Europe mostly because Europe, in the world, we don't realize, but Europe is the place that protect consumer the most in terms of the citizen. In the United States, people information are a commodity. So your credit history, whatever it is, all in the right of privacy in Europe is highly respected. What happened to Apple and Apple being a monopoly? It is, I mean, I don't want to defend Apple in any way because what they do, it is how you get to be a monopoly. Just because you are the good one and the best one in doing something, or because you are killing your competitors. So if you become a monopoly because you are making burn land around you and you are the only one, then I understand that you should be brought to justice. But if I am the
I think we're offline. Give me a second. All right, we're back, everyone. I'm sorry for the internet drop, but yeah, we're back online. Sorry, Roberto. So we were talking about Apple and Apple being a monopoly. Yeah.
yeah, what I was saying is that I don't want to defend Apple, but how you become a monopoly? You become a monopoly because you kill your competitor by buy them off or by other means, or you because you are the best at something and nobody want to buy from your competitors. So it's correct the monopoly shouldn't exist, but bringing somebody to justice just because they're good, it should be not the case. I don't know his insight on this case of Apple, but I think if they have a good marketing, if they have good product, etc., probably, So I don't know why, but surely they are. I mean, there are things that you buy from them. Why in some clothing industry? Because if you look in terms of computers, or cell phones, there are much more Android phones around than Apple phones, So at the same time, if you bring this to the fashion industry, how many Armani pants are around compared to the other pants? I don't know. So why not? No, Armani is not sued to be monopolist of, pants. So there is to understand the reason why Apple has been brought there, but I don't know the specific of the case. Surely they have a huge chunk of market. They're limiting. For example, if I make a plug for my phone to charge it and I patent this plug so nobody else can produce it, right? This is an act of a monopoly, right? So I limit the market to me. But I may have good reason to. Now Apple has been forced in Europe to make the new phone with the USB-C, so the same charger used for something else you can use for phone. They try to sell it like an innovation on the new phone. But yeah, at the presentation, the new phone 15 has USB-C, we're so good, we put it there. If you look in terms of functionality and things, phones, the Apple products are much below a lot of other products. I mean, so they don't lead the market because they have the best new plugs or the best, expansion systems. They lead the market because they became a trendsetter. They became something to show off. Because if you don't have the iPhone 15, you're a loser. But if you don't have the Android, whatever, it really doesn't matter. So is this the fault that they have? They market things very well. They created this church, this religion of Apple, where a lot of people fall into. If they have mispractice in terms of subliminal advertising, I don't know honestly, but I don't see how Apple. I know that Apple is limiting what apps that can be published, but at the other end, with Android, people have malware installed in their phone every other day. With Apple, it's much more difficult unless they're government ones, and so is another way to protect the people. But then this can be, misused and blocking applications that are against the interest of Apple because they compete with the functionality that Apple's offer. But those are too much small details. It's a free market. People is free not to buy an Apple phone. It's not imposed by law. I would be much more concerned that every notebook in the planet that is produced, there is no Apple, has Windows inside. That's a monopoly of Microsoft. Why not Linux? Try to order a laptop with Linux rather than Windows and not pay, because in the price of every notebook that you buy, there is a Windows license inside the price. So try to ask it to remove the price of the license of Windows and give you a notebook with Ubuntu.
Can't you do that? It's not possible?
Some company allow it. It's a very complex order. It's a custom prepared machine. It's not something you buy off the shelf in the shop. And off the shelf in the shop, the notebook has a Windows license inside. This is a monopoly things to go after, in my opinion. Because why? It should be sold separately. If I was one of the people in Europe dictating law and forcing Apple to put a USB-C in their phone, I will force any notebook computer to be sold in Europe to be sold without operating system. And next to it, you can buy by yourself, so you see the money that you're paying for the notebook compared to the one you're paying for Windows. And you're also free to choose to install something else. But that's a monopoly, in my opinion. And like if there was a choice on cell phone operating system, it should be the same thing for cell phone,
Yeah.
Any cell phone should be sold without operating system. Then you choose to install what you want to install in it, like Android, iPhone, or iOS, sorry, or maybe Symbian if it still exists, or Microsoft operating system for phone, whatever it was. Then it will be a free market, right? And people choice. But the fact that I buy a Samsung and I'm forced to use the operating system that there is Android modified by Samsung, rather than if I buy an Oppo, I buy LG, I buy whatever, is always Android.
Yeah,
Why?
but as a company, you're producing your smartphone, you're producing your device. You are entitled to sell it with whatever software you want, basically. And if you don't want...
Because if I was free to sell my phone with whatever plug I want, I wouldn't be forced to put a USB-C in my phone. Right? I mean, it's the same level of enforcement on a product.
Yeah.
Those are two separate things. The hardware and the software are two separate things. It's like if you sell a car and you decide that the car need to have the leather seat in red because I want to buy with the seat white, or with the sparkle seat because I like rally or whatever. So what is that? What is the borderline that decide what you can do, what you cannot do in a market that is supposedly free?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's crazy. Especially, for example, nowadays you don't own anything anymore.
But,
Yeah.
No. You're saying I was agreeing with you. That's correct.
Yeah. Because, for example, I subscribe to Spotify. I love Spotify. I tried to use an iPod this year because I was like, oh, nostalgic, off the grid. I'm gonna use my iPod from now on. No subscriptions, and it was fun for 1 day, 2 days. After that, I hated every second because I had to sync everything, download everything, and sync again, and I couldn't use like Bluetooth headphones. So I gave up and went back to Spotify. But then, some of my favorite songs were not in Spotify because it doesn't belong to me. Like Spotify, like the musics that I have on my library at Spotify, they're not mine. It happened like in several occasions that Spotify just decided to remove some of the tracks that I enjoyed. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't own... it's crazy. And that's not only Spotify. It's basically Netflix as well. Like, you don't own anything. Isn't there a phrase like someone said, in the future you won't own anything and you'll be happy? Yeah, I totally disagree. I think we live in this future already. We don't own anything and I hate it. It's horrible.
See, you touch one very particular sensitive button for me because I download everything. Whenever I see something I like, even a funny video in Facebook, I download it because I know it's going to be there tomorrow, So I used to say, yesterday I downloaded the internet. in my hard drive. And today I don't need to go online because everything is there. But yeah, it's true. Not only this is, you see, I start coding in a small home computer when there was no internet. You connect via modem just to a bulletin board system if you want, and if you know how. But most computers were, things that stay on their own. Even gaming console, they were not connected with the rest of the world.
Oh, yes. Good
Now
old
to
days.
function, yeah. Now to function something, need to go in the internet. You buy a new computer, Apple, for example, in order to activate it, to be able to start using it, you need to connect in the internet. In which instant they know who you are, where you are, IP address, So everything works if it's connected to it's such a given that things connect to the internet and that you have internet that gets to a ridiculous place. Kindle, you download the books in the Kindles, then you go in the tip of the mountain where there is no internet, you open it, and it has to verify, so you are without books because Kindle doesn't connect to the internet in the moment. Even you already downloaded the books in it, so really we depend, and this is why decentralization is important, because we depend on the decision of a third party that can any moment decide that I'm not good anymore for reading the book because they stopped me from it, because the government told them I'm not allowed to read books, I don't know. And nothing is more in the direct control of us. There is a very beautiful, it's a very old, like 20 plus years old video, which was called Trusted Computing. And what trusted computing is the fact that when I turn off the light bulb, old style electricity light bulb, not the fucking Wi-Fi weird wireless Bluetooth one now, I was turning off the switch on the wall. The switch on the wall physically interrupts the electricity from going through, and the light bulb goes off. Okay, I don't need to trust anybody. I know that the switch, because I can open and see physically the mechanics of the switch, detach two pieces of copper, and automatically the light bulb doesn't have electricity. So this is a direct mechanic things. But when you move the switch in the screen of your phone to turn off a functionality, you are not interrupting any electricity. You need to trust that the software underneath stop the functionality. So you, from what you do because you know is happening, to the need of trust the computer to do what it's telling you that it's doing. Maybe it's not true. Okay, so many times that we think we have control of something because we are software, we change the switches of the application rather than we need to trust that the software actually does this. If I had a cell phone made of components, okay, where I can physically remove the Wi-Fi part of it, I will be sure that I turn off the Wi-Fi. I freaking remove the antenna with all the electronic that does the Wi-Fi part. But if the phone is all once compact, and I go in the setting and I switch off the Wi-Fi with the setting of switching off the Wi-Fi, I have no idea if the Wi-Fi is actually off or not. I need to trust the fact that it's off. And this psychology of trusting, of this false feeling of security that you control something, but doesn't mean you did actually for real, open Pandora box of possibilities of what really happening in your operating system. Consider even that is constantly connected in the internet, sending data, where, what data, why. Why my application for calculators is doing 5 megabytes of data transfer? What does the calculator need to do 5 megabytes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We simply don't know. It doesn't matter if you are an expert computer person or not. We don't know. We do not know. We need to trust that it doesn't happen, which is just ridiculous, right? So we need to gain back control on what's happening, where the communication go, what we do. And decentralization is a way to remove the central. I'll tell you something very silly. I want to turn on the AC in my house. I go on my cell phone and I switch on the AC. Okay, this AC goes on not because I said to the AC directly to go on, but because my software application tells to the company that is managing this application in their server that I want to turn on the AC, and from their server they send instruction to my AC to go on.
Why?
And why they need to have the statistic of when I turn on and off each my AC, and like what temperature there is in my house and all these things, with the door as well, and many security camera also store the file up there. It is, and when they say put the key to encrypt the data, yeah, right. Do you know if they're really encrypted when they're saved in the cloud, or they're pretending to be encrypted? We don't know. People lie on very blatant things, and you can see clearly there is a lie. In these things, there is no way even to prove. I mean, like, there will be, but there is a hard work just for each single one of those. So we trust our computer, our devices to do what they're telling us they do. And this is insane, I think, on its own.
Yeah, Apple does that. So what I'm referring to, like when you push down your control center on the iPhone, you can turn off the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, or at least that's what I thought, because you click on it and gets gray. But the thing is, it only turns off until it reconnects for the next 24 hours, or until it recognizes another familiar Wi-Fi connection. So it's not off. And same with the Bluetooth. And I when I learned that, I was like, fuck, I'm having trust issues now. So I started going into the settings to turn off the Wi-Fi, quote unquote, manually, because the control center was not doing it for me.
But even that, who tells you that is actually doing that? You know what I mean? Until it's software, until it's not hardware, until it's software, you have no way to actually say that this is happening,
Oh, Robert, I heard this story. I don't know where. There was this Chinese company. They were selling vacuum cleaners, and it's like this modern vacuum cleaner that is just the broom, the electric broom that you just vacuum around and then you put it back into the charger. Apparently, this vacuum cleaner had like a Wi-Fi module inside, and it was like connected to the internet and sending so much data back and forth. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to this company, but it's like it was scammy for sure. Like, what the fuck? And you didn't need the Wi-Fi to use the vacuum cleaner. You know what I'm talking about?
They're using as a botnet. There are a lot of, you know what a botnet is? A botnet is a network of zombie computer, they call it. So computers that are connected to the internet, that they hacked inside, and they're there ready to act on command of a central part. They still do their job, they still do their work. These happen to be refrigerators that have the smart refrigerator that connects smart TV, all the house appliances, because they're programmed very badly. They're not very well coded. It is IoT world, it is IoT planet. So can be easily hacked because they can be upgraded and so on. And they are there waiting to send a spam email to somebody, or to do a denial of service attack to somewhere. So there are like tens of thousands of these potential zombies there. Then there is a particular command sent, and this command activate them in doing a particular action. And they use home appliances to do this. But there are other interesting things. In many devices that connect to the internet, IoT devices, like this thing to turn on the AC. If you look at the component inside, it's not the case specific of the one, but it happened with others, there are components that shouldn't be there. So there is a microphone. Why there is a microphone in a device that don't need to listen audio and is connecting to the internet, What is it for? Mass surveillance, data collecting for advertising. What it is for? There were a smart TV that had a hidden camera.
What?
Why you have a camera there in the smart TV that is not declared, and not, and this happen, there are news cases where people start saying, why there is a camera on my TV? There is that's why we are so overwhelmed by millions of different devices and things that we use every day that there is no more escape. I mean, like, I don't think even passively. Think about biometrics of a face of somebody. When Facebook started rolling out the biometric of people's faces, it wasn't controlled. Whatever picture is going to do biometric of the picture. Once I went to an amusement park, and there was this stuntman show, and I went in front to take a picture of my family and all the public. So there were like at least 1,000 person, high resolution picture uploaded on Facebook. He started pulling out the name of most of these 1,000 pictures in the public. So you think that the people that had nothing to do with me, they're being biometricized and recognized because they had other account, which means that if you don't have a Facebook account, but you take a picture with me, and tomorrow you take a picture with another friend that also has a Facebook account, Facebook can connect you to me and this other person, even though you don't have a Facebook account, because your facial signature recognize you. So even the CCTV video that people take, holiday picture from tourists, whatever, are giving away our privacy, our personal information, and can allow people to dox us. Because if somebody is a criminal and the government need to trace them down, I welcome that they end up in a picture of a tourist. But if I am a celebrity and somebody is a stalker and use the picture to come outside my house and, bother me and my family, then probably not. And once there is a vulnerability, it's there for everybody. It's no exclusivity of the government. Many times government lobbied or forced a company to leave backdoors into routers. The modern routers that we use at home to connect to the internet, 90% of those have backdoors for the government. There, by
90?
default. Yeah. It is, and they work in the most strange ways. And because they get leaked out, they don't get upgraded automatically. These backdoors are in the hand of the criminals, so it's very easy for a criminal to access your home network, which means accessing your security camera, accessing your IoT devices and computer share folders and so on, because it's very easy to connect to somebody's router. I mean, I'm telling you, very easy. It's really easy. So it is something that most people ignore. They shouldn't even be knowledge about that, because the regular person should be free to use the service, relax in security, that everything is safe and secure for them, right? Is a right to have. But the truth is not. People don't know, and we are blindly trusting every piece of technology with the way that it works, which we should not.
Yeah. While we were talking, I remember this quote: "Privacy is not an option, and it shouldn't be the price we accept for just getting on the internet." What else? That's actually not the one that I was looking for, but it's basically like privacy is not a given. You need to fight for it, which is crazy.
The worst thing people say, I have nothing to hide, so I don't need to worry about it, which is crazy, because it's not that the point. Is how information is going to be used against you, or to get you, or to manipulate you,
And I would say, like, it's just a human right. Privacy is a human right. You need your time, the me time. Like, you call it me time for a reason. You need time to calm down, be by yourself, only with your thoughts. That should be a human right. A buddy of mine, he said, he has the same discourse, right? He said, him opinion, I have nothing to hide, so why would I bother? Society would be way better if everyone had surveillance cameras in their
The
houses,
bedroom,
in
the
their
toilet.
bedroom. I was like, are you insane? How are you gonna have sex if everyone's looking at me online? You know, like, but then I also understand his opinion. Like, yeah, but everyone's also having sex, so you can also watch them. But the thing is, I don't want to. You know, I want to have my privacy. Same thing when you're working. Anyone. When you're working and you're basically just doing your job, you're like just by yourself, like you're doing your job in a certain quality. But at the point, at the moment that your boss arrives behind you and start watching you through the monitor and see how you're the quality is not the same because there's the pressure. You know, you feel like you're being
Yes.
observed and you're being judged. And humans are judgmental. Besides, like, let's take Gandhi out of the equation.
no-
Everyone else is judging you. So
But not only things that are on the internet, things that are online remains forever. But time change. Today, I will not dare to make a joke on a transvestite, for example, okay? Because, whoa, cancel, offensive like this. 10 years ago, there was culturally no issue in doing so. So if you take me, a quote me from 10 years ago, when 10 years ago was perfectly acceptable, today maybe it's not. So the right of privacy exists and the right of being forgotten, about things exist because things change in time, right? So me today is not me 10 years ago. Me today don't say this, me 10 years ago say this because I am. So if you have access of something that I said or did 10 years ago that today doesn't work, you can ruin my political career, for example. When is out of context, is out of time frame, but it become an instrument that can be used against a person. So you cannot live close inside the room without social life because whatever you say today can be used against you, you know, 10 years, 20 years later. So it is it is a mix of a cultural aspect and a practical technical aspect, and we don't even know how it's gonna turn out because it's a very new thing, right? It's a matter of looking into the future and see how kids born totally into this planet where you video film photo yourself dozens of times per day, you know, and put them publicly.
we already
It's gonna
know.
roll out. Well, no, because none of those people is 50 years old.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? How it's gonna pan out in their own future in terms of you know, like we are going through a phase where we see life in a certain way, but it's not gonna stay like this a long time. You know, it's gonna change back. There is going to be other aspect. So it's easy then to point finger against somebody for what they, you know, showcased, you know, 20 years before.
Yeah, I mean that's what Scientology is doing, right? As far as I know, I watched some documentaries about Scientology.
Okay.
It's crazy. So they put you in your room, and they force you to confess your like darkest secrets, because they say that will liberate you, right? And in a certain way, it is
Right.
liberating to talk about your traumas and talk about your problems. That's why talk therapy is so effective. That's why talking to your friends about your problems is so effective, because
Yes, good. Yes, correct.
talking about it like helps you. But they take that and they have like hidden mics in those
Right,
rooms.
right. So they can blackmail you.
And they can blackmail. And the government, from what you know, that after Edward Snowden, right? Well, he said like the government's basically doing the same thing. When did
That's correct.
Edward Snowden came out? He became a whistleblower, I think 2005, right? It was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
long time.
Imagine and the things that he said back then were already alarming. Imagine like the technology that today. It's crazy. I'm sure like they can access my iPhone front face camera at any moment. I'm sure.
It is the point of not knowing as the crazy thing. So we have no idea, and we don't know. So everything is possible, nothing is possible at the same time. Schrodinger situation, if you want, on the truth of the level of surveillance we are on to, because we don't know. So not knowing, or knowing a little bit, or knowing some stuff but not other stuff. We know the potential, we know what can be done, but we don't know what they do actually.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the solution for all of this, in your opinion,
That's
Roberto?
the problem. There is no solution because unless you exclude yourself from society. So much that I was reading that this is still a long time ago now. Facebook is just for old people now, but when Facebook used to be for young people as well, they were saying if somebody doesn't have a Facebook account, is a sociopath, right? So it is even more concerning if you do comply to the standard of the today living by doing what the people expect you to do. So being social media, sharing your private stuff online, etc., etc. If you don't do that, you're a subject of interest because you're behaving differently. So probably you have something to hide. You know what I mean? And so we're more interested to discover what you have to hide. So it is a strange game because you need to comply to what is expected the average person to do, and at the same time have this old computer unplugged from the internet where you do your private things. You know, so it is there is no way.
Yeah, yeah. I recently watched this interview with Tucker Carlson. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work, but he said like he doesn't do email. He like where he lives, he doesn't even have like a electric oven, or he has like he use firewood, something like that. So he really like trying to connect to nature as much as possible. Not only because of this aspect, the surveillance aspect, but he also said like, and I agree with him on that point. He also said that mentally and spirituality, it's way better, at least for his soul and for me as well. I remember, Roberto, I once went for a whole week. I went to this farm with a couple of friends, and we didn't have internet connection. We didn't use your smartphones, and I was like on my way there, I was the whole time, damn, it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be boring. Blah, 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 blah. Like the second day, I didn't even. I was not even thinking about my phone anymore. I was so connected with other people, so connected with the activities and the place around me and the nature. Like, it felt liberating. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it is normal actually. It is correct. That's how life should be. I live in Bali for a good reason, right? At the end of the day, it's not a city. Nature is outside. The coconut trees where people can climb and collect the coconuts. It is one of the value that you have. We are part of a planet that is made of many things. People isolating themselves into the maze of video games rather than online stuff, etc., which is good because it has a lot of useful aspect. Like, look, we are sharing, me and you're in Germany, I'm in Indonesia, and we are sharing with people from everywhere in the world. This is powerful, and this thanks to
Yes.
this technology and the internet. So there are a lot of positive aspect to it, but full independent of it. See, everything is an instrument. We need to think this. Look, for example, when autocorrect came out, people were saying, oh, start one step before. When the calculators came out, they were forbidding in school because with the calculator we are not able to do mathematics anymore. Not true. We can do better mathematics and faster. With autocorrect, people would not learn how to spell anymore. Not true, because when you get autocorrect 5 times, you get annoying. You learn how to spell the word properly. With the ChatGPT, we will not be able to write down something anymore. No, because I see and I learn now things. But depends on the person. If somebody is passively using something without putting his own. So if something is an end and not an instrument, another means to another destination, then it's dangerous. When something is an instrument to get somewhere else, then it's fantastic because you control it. So you need to control technology, not technology control you. And be aware of what are the potential risks and the potential exposure, is silly. Thank God, thank for the law enforcement, and I've been consultant for law enforcement many years. Criminals usually are not the most intelligent people, because somebody intelligent goes to school and find a regular job. So people that resort to crime usually is because their IQ is not the top. And so make them easy to arrest and to find, because people that is not very smart leave trace, leave all the things for law enforcement to catch them. but obviously technology is came a big help. Like everybody goes with a cell phone around. People that go commit a crime with their cell phone in their pocket, they are simply tracing themselves to the crime location, how long they stay there. Even if they make phone calls, you have a tracer in your pocket that leave a trace of whatever you do. Like somebody more intelligent leave the phone back home and go without phone, but there are the camera on the road, so the camera is gonna film. There are millions of cameras, so you need to disguise. So there are so many steps that we're forced to to do, not to be traced. That it requires so much effort that people give up pretty much, even when they go commit a crime. That's the crazy thing. So detaching from technology, not possible.
Yeah, it's not possible. I sometimes I love those serial killers TV shows, right? Netflix full of them. I watched this one, I think, for Teddy Bundy. Or I think it's one of them, or there's so many of them. And the thing is, most of them take place when in the 70s, or
When there was no cell phone, where there was no CCTV. Funny, there is a joke that says, time change, economy is very bad. I remember when I was a kid, with €10, I can go to the supermarket, come out with a full cart of shopping. Now, unfortunately, too many CCTV, I cannot do that anymore.
yeah. It has the good and the bad aspects, right?
Yeah.
So, Roberto, I have a question. So we talk a lot about technology, different technologies. We talk about the military and how the police are normally at the cut edge of technology.
No, but they need to catch up with it, and they're not the cut edge of technology, to be honest.
Military? Wouldn't you say the
The
military?
army, the military, is the law enforcement, the police. They need to do a lot of. They have a lot of nice tools, but they catch up with the technology. For what is my experience, they're nice people, but the government doesn't provide them the tool. If you look at NSA, if you look at other things, yes, I'm with you. But if you look at the classic police officer that do an investigation, they are limited in the tools that they can access. It's not that they press a button and they know everything about somebody. It's not like in the movie. But
Not in Dubai. In Dubai, I think the police has like has like
Singapore,
Lamborghinis.
Dubai. So, a nice Lamborghini. They go around with that. They're happy.
Yeah, but what I wanted to ask is, I heard that there's some black projects, and those are just rumors, right? There's a lot of black projects in the military in the U.S., and they achieved gravitational technology. Like they even might have acquired that from some falling UFOs and stuff like that. Since we're talking about a lot about technology, I wanted to ask you, how much do you believe in that, and how much do you think that's a possibility for the upcoming years? Anti-gravitational technology.
Anti-gravitational, I have no clue.
Okay.
If you talk about the gravitational, I have a very interesting story to share with you, but that's after I answer the other question. Technology, I know for a fact that the military government capture emerging technologies that are very useful for warfare and remove them from the public to later deliver. Eyewitnesses at the Computer Expo, I don't remember if it was Sony or some other company, they had this monitor make like a cloth. So you can roll it, you can do, and it was high definition, but for what was the time where it was a high definition video, but like a television that you have, but you can roll it, you can use it as a sleeping cover or something like this. I saw it with my eyes, was in front of me. It never made it to the market, and something like this would have sold in an incredible way, which means that has been purchased in exclusivity by somebody that has interest to use it, and something like that is very useful in terms of hiding or pretending there is an object but there is not, or whatever it is. And I'm talking about almost 20 years ago, so actually, yeah, about that 25 years ago. So it was very innovative for the time. Now maybe something silly can be done easily, but for sure we have a lot of technology that is taken away from the public because of use for government particular departments. And at the same time, there is the push. DARPA, for example, in the United States, which is a military research and development department, if you want, we owe them the internet. So there is a lot of innovation that is created by the need of warfare. Because internet was born to guarantee communication to remote place where the army was dispatched without if somebody cut the cable, there is still another. So all the protocol and all the methods are thanks to the military. So we are doing what we're doing now thanks to them. So there is two sides of the things. The CIA had a department called InQtel. InQtel is an accelerator and for startups on technology. They give a lot of money. And if you develop a technology, there is a good interest for them. At a certain point, you split, and you have the one that you sell for the public and the one that they keep for. Okay, but they finance, they are co-owner. They are co-owner of a lot of technology that we use every day, and they are half owned by the CIA indirectly. So it's quite interesting, to think about it. And this InQtel is nothing secret. I mean, I'm not sharing, confidential information. I'm sharing facts that everybody knows. But those are government programs to innovate because they realize that if they create the technology exclusively for them, they don't have the mass usage that guarantee the stability and quality of the thing. So if a technology need to be proven working by the mass, so you need to have something that goes to the public. Then you can modify it and use it for internal use, and then it's a stable technology. So that was the catch to do this InQtel part of a CIA program. The theory of Men in Black, where microwave ovens and other things come from alien technologies, is beautiful and interesting. Obviously, comes together with the idea that there is, in fact, a connection. To be honest, there is no proof that this is the case, meaning that almost each technology that came out has an history of research and experiments and all the things that comes with it. But it's beautiful to think that somebody gave us the knowledge or some extra knowledge. What is beautiful, I think, is what we enter into now with these artificial intelligence things that is being put at use of the public and then developed in such a way, because it's like having a human with the knowledge of all the planet, with a brain that goes 1,000 times faster, 1,000,000 times faster. And so if a scientist, the most brilliant scientist, takes years to come to a discovery, artificial intelligence takes days and does it better. So probably we're gonna come to very important conclusion in terms of technology, evolution, creation of instruments, starting these years to the following that we never saw in the past. Which is going to be very interesting to see, because in the end of everybody, there was I think his Netflix documentary as well about artificial intelligence and the scary part of artificial intelligence, which we all see it as the Terminator robot coming and killing us, but in a much more simple and way more scary. There were two scientists creating molecules for medicine, like particular molecular formulas to create medicine. They run this artificial intelligence in a local computer. So I'm not talking about data centers. So a small computer, like old as well. It was like 10 years old computer, so nothing new, to calculate every night potential molecules and see how they combat other things. So there was database of the human body, DNA, whatever it was. And they were asked, because there were people working with artificial intelligence, to go to a conference to talk about the danger of artificial intelligence. So they didn't know what to say. They were just doing research for medicine. So the assistant came up with the idea, let's reverse the formula. So the formula for the research had a 1 at the end. That is 1 means they need to make it better. So they moved to 0, and overnight, this artificial intelligence came out with all the possible poisons, of which many were famous known poison, and others were unknown yet never developed poisons, really little. So so they got scared, and they had a very good topic to discuss at this conference. So thanks to artificial intelligence, in one night. I made all the poisons that we don't even know about. I have all the formula of the famous poison that we know. Simply changing 0 to a 1 in a formula to do medicine. And this is the scary part, I think, of artificial, not the robots that come to kill you, which is also scary if you think I have the nightmare of the drone coming bombing me when I'm in the cave in the mountain, want to dissociate from society. But still they reach me because they see with heat sensor for the satellite that I'm in the cave in the mountain, they send the drone to bomb me, and I have no escape, But yeah, surely there are many aspects of the evolution of technology, in positive and negative, aliens or no aliens. I love to think that it's being hidden from us, but we had tens of years of talking with aliens, but there is a Fermi paradox that tell us probably not. But it would be nice to see, most of all, what we're gonna learn as soon as we have a moon base, as soon as we go to Mars, what there is as an evolution in the human psychology, the human culture, in the moment that we are multiplanetary, in terms of are we gonna see us the one on Earth and them the one on Mars, or we're gonna still see Muslim, Jewish, Catholic, Buddhist, of different nationality, different religion, different political ideas. So probably more we expand, the more we're gonna compact and unite. It would be beautiful to have a common enemy, even though enemy is an ugly word, because that's is what unite people, right? But I don't know. All to be seen.
Artemis 3, right? I think that's the NASA mission to create their base, start creating their base on the moon. I also can't wait to see how this will completely change our planet and our society. And the good part about all of this, Roberto, is that it's very soon. As far as I know, it's like in 3 years. Like, we're gonna be alive for that. How cool is that? It's amazing. I can't wait. And that's just the first step, because as far as I know, the plan, at least from NASA, and also, let me rethink. So the plan for NASA is to create the base on the moon, and this base on the moon will allow them to go to Mars more easily and more okay. And I think the plan from Elon Musk is a little bit different. He wants to take the Starship from Earth directly to Mars in one journey.
What things are going to be done?
Okay.
Musk doesn't want to wait the base on the moon to be completed.
Okay.
Surely enough, once it's set and there is a launch pad on the moon to go toward Mars, there is no reason to start from Earth. You have two different lifts, here to the moon, moon to Mars. I think about Christopher Columbus taking the 3 caravels and going toward the United States. United States, toward what
Americas.
he thought it was India.
Yeah, India.
And the bravery of, or the zero caring of these people that had no family, no reason to say, if I'm gonna die, it doesn't matter, that the Earth is flat, I'm gonna drop off the edge of the head. Really, I think it's more brave them than the people that is gonna board the spaceship to go to Mars, because there is much more understanding and knowledge of going to Mars than there was at the time of taking this boat and going to circumnavigate the world on the other side. There was not even given, there was no flight around, and they had no idea about this other continent on the other side. It was really like in the sea. I wonder how it was being lived. It's amazing if you think about it. So, an equivalent discovery that was done there, and how that changed everything, is going to be done now that we go to the moon. There is water on the moon. There is possibility to have a sustainability. The Mars, is fantastic. And as you say, we're gonna see it. It's beautiful. So I stay healthy to survive and
oh, please do.
see this thing happen.
I personally cannot wait. It's something that a topic that I'm extremely interested on. There's this YouTube channel called Everyday Astronaut.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yes.
I watch all of his videos because it's so goddamn interesting. Like how like one of the aspects that I'm super curious about is like how the society will evolve there. As you mentioned, are we gonna be like a multiplanetary species as one, or there's gonna be the Earthlings and the Martians, and we're gonna evolve differently, and we're gonna be because let's think for a second. Like their gravity is different. Their society gonna probably organize in a similar but different way. Over time, there's no doubt about
Yeah.
it. They will grow into a different direction. Like, as far as I know, even cows in different parts of the world,
The Martian cows, I want to see.
but
Fantastic.
what I wanted to say is like even cows on planet Earth, depending on the region that they grew,
Absolutely,
they
yes.
have different like their sounds is different, you know. So
It's dialects. Yeah,
Their
even
dialects.
humans are like this. Yes, absolutely. But the Martian cow, the state, born in Mars, living 10 years in Mars, and then coming back to Earth to visit the cousin that work as a beef stick in the restaurant. I don't know. It is, oh my God. It's, it's gonna be. I never thought about cows on Mars, and that surely is a beautiful idea. I'm gonna ask the lead to draw a cow on Mars now. But I think that, yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying before. Like how we are going to be. Like is gonna unite more than one on Earth. Who, what is gonna be maybe the discover that after digging the soil on Mars, there is a huge quantity of some very precious metal. They're gonna start. I don't know. It is because business, money, and opportunity, power, and control are going to be always the desire of humans. So these things are more exciting when you look at them outside, but you're not investing money going to make a moon base or a Mars base or whatever. So for those that are involved, which is the real goal at the end of the day, just the pleasure of saying we are sitting there because in case a meteorite fall on Earth, or because there is some power. Elon Musk elect himself as the president of Mars. I don't know.
Yeah.
And not the chocolate company, I'm talking about the planet.
yeah, but the resources on the universe are infinite, right? So there's no end of it. Which is kind of dumb when we think about how primal we are. We're like constantly fighting. We're warmongers, right? We're constantly fighting with each other for resources. But the universe, like, there's planets made of diamonds. Entire
Right.
planets, like they're
It's just difficult to go get them. That's
yeah.
it.
But as soon as we have the technology to get them, like how does it impact
Diamond is World Zero at the point. So, there was this beautiful, I don't know if you know about it, this TV series was called Twilight Zone.
Oh yeah.
There was this one show about these bank robbers that also discovered these things to sort of hibernate themselves for a long time. So they go rob the bank, they take all the gold ingots with them, they almost kill each other on the desert until they go into this cave. They hibernate themselves for 500 years. When they wake up, a couple are dead, these people go and they find this highway of floating cars and they ask help. And they offered gold ingot to be helped, and the couple in the car like, "Oh, they're offering gold, like even like gold was worth something, like even before we can make it synthetically, like this weight of 500 years really vanified the whole things because that gold had no more value because you can make it out of your microwave oven or whatever." So it is, it is an interesting. But something I promised you before that you asked me about anti-gravitational.
Oh yeah.
And things. So this is an interesting story. When I was living in Florida, in the United States, I was commuting between two towns, Sarasota and Bradenton, and on the Highway 301 between the two towns, there was a piece that was completely empty, probably with the development that has been lately, now is totally built, but at the time was really a bit of countryside. But there was a moment in this highway where I was feeling fantastic, so that I started slowing down to go slow in this place where I was feeling well, until I stopped even with the car on the side of the road because I was feeling really good to be there. And I started checking the coordinate location of this place, what there is in this place, that why. And I came out to discover that in the grid of vertical and horizontal energy that there is in the planet, like this flux of energy that there was a knot. It was the place where the two parts were colliding like this, right? And during this research, it comes out that there is in most of the things, pyramids, the Stone Age, a lot of other things are exactly in the points where the 2 points collide. And in Florida, there was a place called Coral Castle, also built in a place. Yes, search it because it's fantastic. So it was not far from Miami, and I went to visit it. And there was an interesting aspect. No, it's not this. Search Coral Castle, Florida. Not coral, like the coral of the sea. Exactly. And yeah, correct, this one.
Wow.
And this is connected to a lot of strange story of energies and other things. When I went to visit the place, the tour guide looked at the group that we were there and says, "Are you here because you're interested in the history, or you're interested in the energy aspect of things?" And everybody was there interested in the energy aspect of things. So he started making a demo, and I promise, if he didn't choose me to do this example, this demonstration, I wouldn't believe it was true. In fact, I'm sure all the other people in the group thought I was an accomplice of the guy. So he asked me to put my hand like this, straight in front of me, okay, like holding hard. And he asked me to resist, and he pushed them down with his hand. Obviously, those are not muscles that you use much in your body. So, making some effort, he had to push, but he pushed them down. Then he went, there was a triangular big piece of rock that was on rotating on top of a pin, sort of it, and he pointed the points toward me, and then says, "Now resist again." And I promise you, I didn't do much effort. The guy pulled up his leg from the ground, and he was holding on my hands, and I was like, how can this be possible? Then he pointed the triangle in the opposite direction. He came there and fast resist now, and with a single finger he pushed my hands down like I had zero power, zero energy. Comes out the story of this Coral Castle is very strange. It was this Russian guy that is being left at the altar from his promised wife. There was a 16 years old girl. And to prove that he was worth it, he went from Russia to Florida, beginning of the past century, and he started building this Coral Castle by himself. He was cutting block of coral from the ground because Florida, is sea level, and is coral if you move a little bit of sand. But those things were weighing tons and tons, and by himself, all alone, and he was 1.50 m tall, this guy. He was moving this coral around to build the construction that you saw before in the picture of the Coral Castle. And nobody knew how he was doing it. And at a certain point, he wanted to move to a better location, and he called somebody with a truck in order to load the block of coral and bring them there. And the guy left the truck there to be loaded. He left, and he realized he forgot his wallet in the truck. He came back 20 minutes later, the truck was already loaded. And he was like, how? Is nobody there? There are no cranes, like, how did he do this? Eventually, this man died, and they found a notation written like Leonardo, like you read in the mirror, in a code that nobody decoded yet. And there were some belt in leather attached to a strange machine, and comes out that practically putting this belt around pieces of coral they inverted the gravitational things against the ground, so these things were sort of floating or being very very light to move, that a single person can move them around. This is the story. It's true or not, I don't know, but it's the closest I arrived to something like this. If you think this is beginning of 1900, as maybe the correct years must be written in a Wikipedia page, I don't remember correctly. I mean, there was electricity at the time, and there were trucks at the time, so it is 1887, 1951. Okay, so it is begin.
So Coral Castle on promotion material says Edward Lidscallen was 26 years old when he was suddenly rejected. One second, let me share my screen. When he was suddenly rejected by his 16-year-old fiancée Agnes Skuvst in Latvia, just one day before the wedding. Leaving for the United States, he came down with allegedly terminal tuberculosis, but spontaneously healed, stating that magnets had some effect on his disease. Whoa. Okay. Okay, so the Wikipedia go into really an extent length to explain the whole story.
Yeah, it is a very fascinating and interesting story that remain a mystery as of today, like the pyramid and other places where huge blocks has been moved, and they all happen to be in these coordinated places, like on the. So there must be some connection between.
Yeah, I heard about this before, that the pyramids, they were built in a very, very, very specific place that intersect with the energy lines of the earth.
Correct.
Yeah.
It is the Coral Castle, it is Stonehenge, and it is many other places around the world.
It's so geomancy. Geomancy, it's the earth grids, like lines. I think they're called ley lines. Ley lines.
But it's a scientific thing, it's not like a new age kind of thing. So.
Yeah. So, don't allow. Ley lines are straight alignments drawn between various historic structures, prehistoric sites, and prominent landmarks. Gosh, this is interesting because, like when you search for, try to understand how the pyramids were built, a lot of people say, "Oh, they were done that way. Oh no, they were done that way. Oh, we have figured out. No, we have not figured out." To this day, is like.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
There's a mystery, and then historians say, "Oh no, the pyramids were where it was the sarcophagus of the pharaoh. That's where pharaohs. That's where they were buried." No, that's not true. They never found any sarcophagus inside of the pyramids. Actually, the way the pyramids were built don't even make sense. They say, like, some people say that it resembles more like a machine than a place where you...
Yeah, the pyramid is a huge planet of... I think it's also good for the tourism, because if it was already so mystery, who's going to go there? But yeah, in a way, it's beautiful to think that there is this theory that there were past civilizations that were very advanced, and then for some reason we did a reset, probably... Dinosaurs were able to do math to a high level, but they got destroyed, I don't know, by the meteorite. I think that is, if you think, and I was discussing this with somebody the other day, the Alexandria of Egypt library had a lot of knowledge, like the Vatican libraries have a lot of knowledge that is still powerful today and not shared with the world today for whatever reason. It is, nonetheless, it is interesting to know what, that there is this strange thing, if we want to talk about strange stuff the humans do and other aspects, what we can do with our brain. I'm sure that we are born with the possibility to evolve as humans, like I'm talking about a kid, in many directions and possibilities, like able to see what we don't see as an adult. Every little kid has his invisible friend that he plays with, right? what it is a ghost, is real pure fantasy. Science is not going to prove that it's a ghost. Obviously, a psychologist is going to say it's the need of companionship that creates in the fantasy of the kid. But who knows? Because there are cases of kids narrating the previous life to details that have been discovered to be actually true, and these are scientifically proven, meaning that is not somebody made it up, and how, So when I was a little kid, I was forced to go to mass by my mother, and I hated it, and I was super bored. And I was spending my 45 minutes making people turn around. So when you feel somebody's looking at you, you feel observed. You check your shoulder because. So I was forcing this on people. So I was sitting in a place looking somebody very intensely, and this person will turn around, and which is what is the scientific explanation for this? There is no scientific explanation, but there is something I was doing. I was actually doing. I still do it today to call the waitress when I am in a restaurant. I focus very hard on them. They turn around, and then I ask to come and take an order. So there are things that we probably could do very easily if we were trained since we were little kids. If in kindergarten, in elementary school, they were teaching this to kids, probably they will develop them up to a grown-up age. I wonder how many other things. There is people, which I believe because I've been part of it, there is this sort of peer-to-peer network. We want to have a callback to the beginning of the discussion of human brains, where we can share knowledge with each other, you can pick from here the knowledge of whatever, the humanity, like this. And now all this is put inside artificial intelligence. So if artificial intelligence is exactly acting like a human brain, because they give an explanation for how it's working, it's just an algorithm finding the most possible next word, but it's not true. I mean, it is impossible because it has behavior that goes outside the potential algorithm. So there is no way that that is something that explains it. And people running them, they don't know themselves why it's working, how it's working. It's a neural network, which is the same mechanics that human brain works. Okay. So what if artificial intelligence become capable to making people turn around? Because it's a function of a brain, it's something that a brain can do, and that's a brain made by computer, but it's still a brain. So what if artificial intelligence can develop all the other things that we human didn't develop because we are shut down as a kid in believing in the box that we are living? What if artificial intelligence can see the ghosts? I don't know, or talk with the aliens. So it would be interesting to see this. And there is a scientist that is actually experimenting with artificial intelligence in trying to get artificial intelligence do paranormal stuff. And it is actually interesting. I think,
What's his
I don't know if
name?
it was guesting Joe Rogan. I wish I remember. But it was guesting Joe Rogan or somewhere else. But it was so interesting because he tried to get artificial intelligence doing remote viewing, for example. Very, very nice. And is a very interesting possible evolution of.
All right, so clairvoyant remote viewing. The remote viewers. Okay. Sean Webb? That's
Maybe.
maybe? Okay. How artificial intelligence will manipulate the
It's recognized. No.
the world. I don't know, Robert, but that's very,
But
very.
anyway, it
yeah.
was a very interesting aspect of a potential evolution. Artificial intelligence also outside the boundaries of what we consider just normal intelligence is interesting.
Yeah, because we have artificial intelligence in its infancy. We also have
Yeah.
quantum computers in its infancy. That's
There's a different thing. Yeah.
that uses like the quantum science in order to do the calculations. Which are also not. Which we also don't understand fully. We're still learning
Correct.
about
It's
it.
true. Mm.
Imagine, like 50 years from now, 100 years from
Well.
now, those technologies, like it's gonna be a completely new world. It's hard to
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah. Roberto, so I would like to ask you: do you have any final remarks? Anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I think that everything we discuss about is a very interesting planet to explore for people. So I encourage everybody to devote a little bit of time every day to explore what is behind the scene, what is the possibility for the next future in the evolution of these strange things. So life for people is going to look the same pretty much every day on the next day. But what happening behind is going to change drastically. So let's discover what happened behind the scene of things, right?
All right. Man, it has been a pleasure talking to you, Roberto. I really enjoyed our conversation. I really would like to continue, ask you 1,000 questions, maybe next time. All right, so thank you very much for being here. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast. If it's your first time watching the show, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to rank the show 5 stars. This will ensure that the podcast will be recommended to even more people. If it's your sorry. This will ensure that because we remember more people and allow me to keep doing what I love. Check out now the BruCast store. Explore a store filled with awesome goodies, from hoodies to t-shirts to mugs. We've got you covered. Stay in style with BruCast. Embrace the shock. Set the trend. Buy now at bru-cast.com/store. I repeat, bru-cast.com/store. Link on the description below. BruCast also on Instagram, X, and TikTok, where we upload shorts with the highlights of the show. So follow now, BruCast on X, Instagram, and TikTok. All links on the description below. Thank you very much, Roberto. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.